Vanakkam, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais. I'm extremely happy and thankful to the entire organization and management of Council for National and International Commercial Arbitration for considering me to share few of my thoughts. And before I speak on the topic arbitration as syllabus, that's what the topic is as given to me. But let me first seek apologies from all of you by overtaking my senior colleague, Professor Arvind Pandian, in speaking, and not able to present the entire session also, because I'm in the midst of a very urgent, important meeting. With the permission of my members in the meeting, I took permission not to disappoint Raju and his colleagues. And I said, I'll just go and deliver the address and come back, because we are in a very serious meeting going on in the university with some of the senior judges and others. So I may not be able to, it's my misfortune not to be able to listen to others, but I request you to apologize me. And also, I have been given the topic that arbitration as syllabus. Well, arbitration as a syllabus, particularly in the international commercial field, is a very important topic. But I choose to address not arbitration, but the holistic perspective of settlement of disputes. Why? Because commercial arbitration, after the UNCTAD draft declaration and the convention, followed by the Arbitration Act of Government of India, according to the principles of conflict of laws, commercial arbitration became popular because of the pendency of litigation in the courts. We think that pendency of litigation only in India, but pendency of commercial litigation is there every part of the world. The companies horribly spending money on the lawyer fees. One of the lawyers from Australia has written a book that when can I get rest? Because the arbitration has now made such a demand as an alternative to judicial settlement that any lawyer who practices commercial arbitration with private international law doesn't find time even to change the flights. This is the truth. They talk to their parties intermediary time in the airports. And for each arbitration and each issue, they charge huge money. But that money what they charge is lesser than what they spend on judicial litigation. Because in 1996, when I was presenting a paper in an international conference with my professor in New Delhi in the Indian Society of International Law, my professor was a young professor, died, because today there is nobody expertise in India on private international, unfortunately. Very few are there. Professor V.C. Govindaraj, very few I can name, 2, 3, because Madras University Law Department, Professor T.S. Ramarao, Professor Raghavan, all of them were known. I should be highly thankful to Professor T.S. Ramarao for having considered me as a student to teach private international law for 3 years. When I was working in Pondicherry, I used to come every Sunday to learn from him and go back. With that dedication he taught me, but unfortunately I could not teach the subject much to my satisfaction, except in Pune 10 years I taught that subject till recent times. The most important subject that we need to address in any law school than the regular international law or other perspectives, because the Unicitral Model Convention and the Arbitration Act of India thinks with respect to inter-commercial aspects because of the globalized economic era. This is the most important aspect, because choice of jurisdiction and other perspectives are very important. And when we think of choice of jurisdiction and other perspectives, particularly in India, we have an act called the Consumer Protection Act. It is such a stale and parallel act which doesn't have anything. It is an unfortunate act. So many suggestions have been given to Government of India. Unfortunately, though amendments have been made, consumer is still treated as a third-rate citizen in this country. Consumer has no say. The old saying of mercantilism, mercantile guild prevails in India even today. I'll tell you a small example. In the modern technological savvy world, I'm giving you a practical example 2 years back. When this LG company released this phone 2 years back, I went to the website of Amazon to purchase this phone, which is 18,000 rupees and the cover 2,500 rupees. Because this cover is a patented cover. I didn't get emulated to purchase it because it was just launched. I went to the market and saw in the market the same phone was sold in Tata showroom at 16,000 rupees including the cover, and if you take installment without paying interest, the last installment you need not pay. That means this phone has come only for 13,500 rupees. This is online cheating. Nobody bothers. Nowadays everybody is interested online, sitting at home. You don't know what is happening in online. Several times we purchase products which are, then you want to negotiate, you want to do, and another disadvantage here is that there is a set of agreement. Until you say yes, you want to proceed further. How can you say yes? Where is the jurisdictional perspective? What are the issues? Well, this type of issues, a number of issues come in. Why I am saying? Because the Paris Convention, applicable to European convention countries, made it very clear, and the Rome Convention particularly, made it very clear that in the European nation states who are parties to the Rome Convention, you purchase any product in any country, you are resident in any country, you can file the case in your own domestic nation. What a beautiful law it is. I'm a Swedish fellow, I purchase phone in England and I can file my case in Sweden. The merchant has to come. But in India, even if I purchase in Chennai, I go to Coimbatore, I have to come to Chennai to file the case, not in Coimbatore, within the state also. This is our Consumer Protection Act. So commercial disputes with respect to arbitration, I agree. I was talking to some of the judges in the afternoon. They said it's fine. It is fine for major companies are considered arbitration. But in India, it is not only arbitration, several other disputes also need to be addressed. Judiciary's process should be settled into them. So, we are thinking of alternative dispute resolution, which is a very important subject, where negotiation, mediation, conciliation are also important factors which have been recognized by international law and municipal law. If we look in the perspective of justice, either from international law or from municipal law, under Article 2, Subclass 3 of the Charter of the United Nations makes it very clear that disputes need to be settled even in friendly relations in a friendly manner. Even if you have a dispute, you should not get enmity. But nowadays what is happening, if once a dispute comes, we become enemies. After the dispute is settled, you are a friend. That friendship clause should be brought in. That is the reason why the Commercial Arbitration 85 and 96 Act of India, UNICITRAL, have advocated commercial arbitration. But before commercial arbitration, going into arbitration, okay, after the WTO come into existence, international trade become a very important perspective. Well, nation states are going for arbitration. That's agreeable for commercial arbitration is considered. But arbitration alone should not be a tool, because the present Arbitration Act of Government of India is centered towards commercial arbitration, but not about the pacific settlement of disputes, unfortunately. Whereas the previous Arbitration Act of 1940, I consider still good. It has specified all the methods. Honorable judges are also here. Because there you have methods of negotiation which have been highlighted in the North Sea Continental Shelf cases in 1922. The Permanent Court of International Justice made it very clear that the direct and friendly settlement of disputes between the parties is universally accepted, and that being a very important perspective, basing on the negotiation is not only negotiation involves a lot of other techniques like inquiry, discussion, application of legal principles in a mild way, using good offices, all this part of the negotiating process, which will help even to create beautiful lawyers and art of lawyering in a courtroom. This is a very important part of settlement of dispute which we are not considering. We say arbitration also, negotiation, mediation is there. Your negotiation is with respect to commercial dispute, but here negotiation is with respect to social disputes also need to be taken into consideration. Then mediation. Another important is, this is internationally recognized. What we say in international law is, after the Hague Codification Conference of 1899-1907, it is being discussed and implemented. But if we go back to the history, Byzantine history or the Roman Empire has advocated, or even the Greek philosophers have advocated, mediatory process of settling the disputes. I don't want to dwell upon the entire historical perspective now. Then if we go to the conciliation, well, the conciliation also in international disputes deals with various aspects, where the Geneva Act for Pacific Settlement of Disputes states, conciliation commission shall elucidate the questions, dispute to collect all necessary information by means of inquiry, that means negotiation, otherwise endeavor to the parties to an agreement suitable to the various provisions under Article 15. Then comes arbitration, the route. Before this, these perspectives should be taken and done it to the coming to arbitratory perspective, but in international commercial arbitration, parties are directly going. Well, this is the general perspective both in international law and municipal law in many countries, including India. But if we look into India, the settlement of disputes is a very important perspective right from ancient India. The Vedic texts have provided a clear set of dispute settlement institutions. Unfortunately, we don't know Sanskrit, we don't read ancient texts. It is an unfortunate situation. Because among which the Manusmriti, which has 3000 slokas, have been up and down written. So people got confused and disturbed and say Manu is a very sadist from a woman perspective is considered, but if we read Manu, we understand. But the slokas of 3000 are up and down in a jumbled order. But the most beautiful text, which no commercial law text in the world has been written, is the Smriti of Yajnavalkya. It is also called as Vyavhara Vyapara Daksha, which has only 1000 slokas after Manusmriti. In the 1000, clearly classified around 100 slokas with respect to settlement of disputes and judicial mechanism. The similarities of Yajnavalkya have been extended by Narada Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti, Kachayana Smriti, how disputes should be settled by negotiating, mediating. In fact, the Yajnavalkya has given various types called as Kula, Sreni, Puga, where the disputes need to be settled in such a perspective amongst the various perspectives before it reaches the courtyard of the crown or the king. This same philosophy was advocated in a much more clear perspective style in the ancient Tamil legislature. We are not seeing that, unfortunately. If we see the Sangam literature, particularly Silpadikaram, has clear-cut perspective of dealing with various aspects of settling the disputes. Even the text Tirukural has also advocated settlement of disputes For what? For restoring peace in the society. This is the mechanism that has been advocated. Then, in other parts of India, particularly in Maratha kingdoms and the Rajasthan, Udaipur, Jaipur kingdoms, and among all the kingdoms, one of the ancient kings, before even Sri Krishna Devaraya, was, many might not be knowing, in Gautami Putra Satakarna. Gautami Putra Satakarna, why I am referring, was a very big empire. He didn't touch this part because already Pandavas, Cholas, Charas are already established. So he established the other part of South India up to Gujarat via Maharashtra. That is the biggest empire, and towards east, where he has established Pada, Janapada, Mahajanapada, Mahamahajanapada. Negotiation, mediation, conciliation, arbitration. And this has been called as upayas in the Ardhashastra, where Kautilya said Sama, Veda, Dana, Danda. This perspective of Sama is negotiation, Dana is mediation, Sama, Dana, Veda is again difference of opinion. That is the last. Whereas if we look into Gita, Gita said Veda is the last perspective. Because Veda leads to war. Only when peace broken, then it comes into the various perspectives. So when the various perspectives are looked in the ancient India, we have to look into the Asian perspective. Because in the Vyavahara Daksha, it has been stated very clearly, India was one of the leading merchant nations in ancient world. We should be ashamed of today, we are nowhere. Whereas in those days, India was one of the highly demanded countries in the Malacca and other frontiers, which led the Europeans to conquer India. When we look into that perspective, then the various kingdoms have made alternative dispute resolution, particularly negotiation, mediation, conciliation. When we look into the Asian perspective, the Buddhist philosophy made it very clear, without mediation, where Buddha says, without mediation, heart-to-heart conversation cannot be taken into consideration. That is where Dharmam Saranam Gacchami, Sangam Saranam Gacchami, Buddham Saranam Gacchami has evolved. Buddha says that it is Dharma, Sangha is your part for which you have to settle the dispute only through mediation. This is Buddhistic philosophy has been developed in Asian part. That's why today Singapore and others, by adopting that philosophy, have come to settlement of disputes and arbitration has been developed. I think our professor here may tell you more in detail with respect to this. So when these things are taken, before I just take leave of you, if we look into Article 39A of the Constitution of India, Organization of Village Panchayats, which we have amended 72nd and 73rd Amendment, free legal aid, Lok Adalats and all other things have come in. Well, all these perspectives are very important in the dispute settlement. I'm sorry, because I'm not deviating, I'm giving a holistic perspective, not only arbitration. Settlement of dispute should be a course curriculum in law, not only arbitration. And we have to, I request you and Arvind Pandian and other scholars here, sir, let us start an ancient Indian perspective of law and legal opinion, which gives us more strength to address our problems than following America, Australia or some other country. Why should we refer to them when we have everything within our country? Because as Frank philosopher Frank Sandner has aptly said it, an aggrieved party could simply go to Kisok at the entrance of a courthouse, where a facilitator attendant could give direct a dispute into one of the doors fitting, providing alternative dispute resolution process. You should not go to arbitration, judicial settlement. You should have a place where negotiation, mediation, conciliation should be available. When this is available, as the American jurist Earl Warren said, it is the spirit and not the form of law that keeps justice alive. The spirit is necessary. Then if we take these principles, we cannot call it as a arbitration syllabus or alternative dispute syllabus. I propose, maybe people may not accept, acceptable resolution dispute mechanism, not ADR means alternative. Acceptable resolution dispute mechanism, or in Indian context we can say accessible resolution dispute mechanism. This would be more appropriate. We can train more people, we can employ more people, and we can reduce the burden of the judiciary, and disputes can be settled. Unfortunately, Lok Adalats which have been taken, we have passed acts, Justice Bhagwati's dream, shattered and not fully taken. Even the legal aid camps in law colleges are not taken seriously, because everybody today thinks of training a student. After my LLB, I will get 30,000 rupees in a company. I am sorry to say openly, this is the trend that national law schools have created in this country. Jindal Global Law School says, you pay 7 lakhs per year, you pay for 5 years 35 lakhs, I will give you a 1 lakh job. What is this? 1 lakh job as a company slave. But if you go to the bench and bar, if you introduce other alternative method, self-employability skill, because the Bar Council of India says clinical legal education, which is a most important component which many of the law schools in India doesn't teach. That should be taught. The student should be taught, not the mundane CPC, CRPC, section mugging. Instead of that, techniques of law, implementation of law, moral, ethical, social value principles is taught, then definitely accessible dispute redressal mechanism or as I proposed, the acceptable resolution dispute mechanism will be one of the top pioneering aspects to find out a solution to many of the judicial issues or many of the issues that are plaguing the society. With these few words, I thank you for your patience, and I once again thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity to share few of my views. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for giving new insights on dispute resolution and also for sharing your experiences with us.
Yeah.